And now, the next chapter in the CS story is about to begin. This is Counter-Strike 2.
In 2023, Valve launched Counter-Strike 2 as a successor to CSGO, the second biggest game to ever release on Steam. After explosive community backlash, this has left many wondering why Valve decided to replace CSGO and what their motivation behind it was. Today we will take a deep dive into the dark truth behind this decision, weighing technical challenges, community backlash and unanswered questions about CSGO's legacy. Counter-Strike 2 released on the 27th of September 2023. Initially, the community hype was unreal, as Valve's most popular FPS game was about to receive a new installment after 11 years. Many thought it would only be up from here, as CSGO has been enjoyed by many for over a decade.
There's straight headshot, they have no idea. Smith's looking confused and dazed, and it's going to be a follow-up headshot on a voice now. You've got to be kidding me. Takes down Hiroshima as well.
Just over 3 months after the release of CS2, we saw Valve kill CSGO right in front of our eyes. The removal of matchmaking and servers wasn't just a technical change, it erased a decade of community hubs, from surf maps to competitive practice. Now, as of recording this video, Valve has hidden CSGO behind a beta. Even then, you still effectively cannot do anything on the game, such as watch demos, queue for games, join community servers easily. All that is essentially left is bot practice and workshop maps. Personally, my main problem with all this is CS2 is not supported on macOS. So players who relied on macOS lost access overnight, with no refund path due to Steam's 14-day policy. Critics argue this leaves loyal fans stranded, while Valve has yet to address compatibility plans. Now, this isn't the first time Valve have released a new iteration of Counter-Strike. Unlike past Counter-Strike updates, CS2's launch marked the first time a predecessor became nearly unplayable, a stark contrast to older titles like Counter-Strike 1.6, which remain accessible. It is easier to play the original Counter-Strike, a game that is 25 years old, than it is to play the most popular and beloved game in the franchise. A long-standing issue players had with CSGO was 64-tick official servers. Players believed this to be a disadvantage in many ways, as it made hit registration, peaks and other stuff unreliable at best. If you are unsure what tick rate is, essentially it is how often your client and the server communicate to keep the match in sync. Most multiplayer games, especially FPS games, use server authoritative movement and shooting to ensure what you did was legal. Imagine your game updates 64 times per second. If an enemy peeks a corner on the 65th millisecond, the server misses it. Subtick aim to fix this by prioritising critical actions like shooting, but players claim it feels inconsistent, sparking debates about whether it's a true upgrade or a workaround for technical limits. Valve have not been very open on how Subtick actually works and which data is sent when. On the surface, it appears this functions by sending less important information like utility throws in larger, slower packets, and crucial information like shooting is sent in small sub-packets sent instantly after a larger packet. However, based on tests and analysis conducted by members of the community, it appears that Valve had no option other than to create a Subtick routine. Packets are sent and received using UDP. However, due to limitations imposed by Ethernet MTU, this caps packets at 1500 bytes. Why is this a problem? The initial packet is consistently around 1300 bytes and the sub-packet varies from 20 to as high as 600. So it seems the data sent and received is split due to a technical limitation rather than Valve wanting to improve the player experience. While Valve claims Subtick improves precision, tests suggest packet splitting may stem from bandwidth limits not designed. Either way, the system's opacity leaves players skeptical. Counter-Strike is a highly competitive game with a skill gap like no other. This has led to many problems with cheaters over the years and has definitely always been the most prevalent issue in Counter-Strike. With the announcement of VacLive and VacNet, a real-time ban checker which uses a whole host of data to check inconsistencies in gameplay, and an AI-based anti-cheat respectively, players were excited that another fundamental issue with CSGO was being fixed in this release. Did it? No. CS2 is inherently full of cheaters even at the top level.
Hits the non-stop! Hits another one! Back to back to back!
The top ranked premier players in the world, bear in mind their games are publicly available to watch, are blatantly cheating despite having thousands of dollars in CS skins in their inventory. So it really does feel like Valve do not care one bit, and neither did the cheaters. Some argue Valve's skin-driven economy decentivizes aggressive bans, though the company denies this. Overwatch used to be a staple of the community as it allowed them to take cheaters into their own hands and do a great job of removing cheaters from the game. However, towards the end of CSGO's life, this system was abused by bots, and we have still yet to see it reintroduced properly in CS2. This section is all speculation and there isn't really any concrete evidence to support this, so please take it with a grain of salt. The reception of CS2 upon its release was terrible. Negative reviews flooded its store page, and for good reason. Within a month of its release, it seemed the majority of these negative reviews disappeared. Did this mean Valve had taken into account these huge problems prevalent in CS2, fixing them, causing players to be happy with the state of the game? Not at all. There were 0 updates during this time frame, so this sparks the question of what happened there. Based on an investigation conducted by Ajax, it seems Steam removed a lot of these negative reviews for questionable reasons, ranging from profanity to spam, which led to community bans for thousands of loyal fans who were simply frustrated with what Valve had done to their favourite game. So does Steam react the same way with other games who receive similar types of negative reviews? Not a chance. For example, Drug Dealer Simulator 2 received many negative reviews after they made clear they had the intention to sue Schedule 1 for allegedly copying its game mechanics. There are still hundreds of reviews that are negative simply because people were totally against this idea, and Steam have taken little to no action to make the reviews actually reflect the state of the game itself. So if the motivation behind removing CS2's negative reviews is how it appears to be, then it really is a disgusting display of affairs. Did Valve simply not care that people didn't like the game, as long as people are buying skins and crates? I'm sure they don't really care. So to summarise what we have discussed today, while CS2's new engine and gameplay mechanics have breathed new life back into the game, it appears it was more of a quick and easy way to get new players, to quote Valve themselves, rather than create a better experience for the already large existing player base. When it comes down to it though, how many players have really taken advantage of these updated graphics? Considering it is a highly competitive game, meaning every frame time matters, I would hazard a guess that most players, myself included, play on low settings to maximise performance. The community definitely deserves some answers from Valve, because as it stands, the game is infested with cheaters, has locked out players on other operating systems, is arguably in a worse state than CSGO was even at its launch, and has made the most successful game they ever released unplayable. I am extremely curious as to what you think about the game as a whole, and if you've made it this far, I very much appreciate you for sticking around, and have a wonderful day.